Hello and welcome to Aussie Car Reviews, and today we have the Holden Commodore VZ Ute here for us to have a play and a look at and a review for you guys. Now this here is the SV6 model, which is the Sports Pack edition, so we're going to have a look at all the differences and quirks this Australian icon has to offer. Yes, the Aussie Commodore Ute has been around for quite some time now, but sadly no longer being made in this country. Been around since the late 40s, and now, well, no more. What you see is what you get here. That's on for offer. Now in the last 3 generations of the Ute, they decided to step things up a bit. Before that, all Utes were just a very basic car, all come in white, varying colours, and a basic motor, basic interior, no gadgets. It was just a Ute to haul your farm equipment around in. But still they are used for tradies everywhere around Australia today. But the last 3 generations, they decided to turn them into muscle cars, sport performance vehicles. Like this one here today is the SV6, and we're going to check it out and see what makes this different upon all the rest. So let's start at the front of the SV6, and what do you get down here? Well, a generous, nice big bumper bar down here with spoiler, and you also got your integrated fog lights that come as standard on this model and models like it. Down the side, the body moulding continues straight up the side of the car in the matching colour as well. As for the wheels, we have 17-inch factory alloy wheels, not your steel rims, on a good generous Pirelli tyre. And underneath, you got Holden's great sport suspension pack, which is an upgrade from your standard Ute suspension. So let's take a look around the back of the Ute, and as you see, this one has a fantastic colour-coded hard tonneau cover here, flip-top lid. Now you could opt these from the factory, or you can buy them after the factory and retrofit them yourself. This one here, as you see, it's on 2 hinges and 2 struts, so you undo the locks and up she goes. Generous supply in the back of the utility, put the tray down, and as you see, plenty of room for anything. And yeah, you could even sleep in this thing. Yes, as you see, the Holden Ute is pretty tough, and it can hold a lot of different loads, from work gear to camp gear. Even your grandma will take her to the markets on Sunday. And hey, if you want a little bit of extra room, well, why not hook up a trailer? And Holden give you that too. We have a generous 2-bar underneath here to cart any other trailer, up to a weight limit of course. I'm not too 100% sure on, but I know I've seen caravans being trailed by these Utes and car trailers and so on. So if you want a bit more extra room, hey, hook it up and away you go. Okay, inside the Ute now. So, what's the cab like for the VZ? Well, first impressions are really good actually. I mean, they're worlds away from the cheap plastic that they had in the 90s cars on the dashboard, because all this here is soft. Sure, you've got the plasticky bits in the middle here, which aren't as bad, but you know what, the styling, the refurbish of these cars were absolutely good to look at. Now, of course, you've got your factory radio here and CD player, your climate control with air conditioning. Now, of course, in Australia, you're not going to have a car without air conditioning. That would just be silly. You got your steering wheel, which is adjustable up and down, in and out, for many variations there. We have our sports dash cluster going on there. But as the seats, yeah, they're comfortable. One gripe I will have, and these seats have a lumbar support in them, which in these ones they put them too high up, I think. So they're kind of right in the middle of your back, and when you wind out the bar, it kind of makes you stick out there a bit. So apart from that gripe, the seats are still very comfortable. We've got adequate space in the back, good storage bin there with a nice soft armrest cover here. Now, let's get on to the goodie bits of what you get for the SV6. Now, of course, the first upgrade is the gearbox here. Now, this is a 5-speed automatic gearbox, not the 4-speed which you normally get in a normal regular ute. This being the sports model, you've got your power button and your AS button, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. Now, what happens here with this power button, if you're on the motorway and you want to overtake someone and give that boost of power, or you just want to take off from the lights in a very quick hurry, press the power button and this launches this thing off the traffic lights or overtaking other vehicles. It has that extra little bit of boost. No, it's not a V8, no, I know that, but it does have that power and it is rather quick. Now, this model, the sports model, comes with this AS button here. Now, that's not traction control button. No, most people think it is, but it's not. In this model, this turns your automatic gearbox into a manual gearbox. Now, up here on the steering wheel are 2 pedals. One for going up, one for coming down. And of course, that's just like being in a manual gearbox. You can drive this manually, but up here with the flappy paddles. So you don't do it down here, no. So, that feature I have yet to test on this car, and the only thing about Australia, you need somewhere decent to test it. And yes, there are plenty of places to do it. I just haven't found a good one yet to spread this one. So it's coming around the driver's side now. I just want to show you again these flappy paddle gear levers for the manual version of the gearbox. Now, they are very small to see and you could probably mistake them for volume control knobs, but as you see here is the minus for coming down the gears, and over here you can just see a little plus just hidden behind the steering wheel, very discreet, and to be honest you probably wouldn't even know they're there unless you actually look for them. But when you hit the AS button, the gearbox is a manual gearbox, you can use those. Once again, I will be testing now one day, I just haven't got around to doing it as yet, and I'll be making a different video on the performance on that gearbox. Right, here we have the sports dash on the SV6 model, and as you can see it is very good to look at. It has the trip computer on board. So this one also brings up a digital speedo, so you don't really have to look at the analog one if you don't want to, and especially here in Australia with how strict they are for speeding fines and tickets, this is a very good feature. Here we have the odometer, which is 199,000, and trip computer on that. Now of course you might say that's nearly 200,000 and that's a lot of miles, but here in Australia, that's pretty common, and actually that's pretty low for a ute. Some of these go up to 400,000 kilometers and they're still on the road. And we have distance to empty, which on a full tank, this will give me 660 kilometers. So it gives you a long range tank. And of course your average fuel speed. Now this one, as you see, is getting 10.4 litres per 100 kilometers. So that's not too bad. The lower the number the better. If it was 8 litres per 100 kilometers, that would be a lot better, but a lot of older utes ran between 11 and 14, so this one's not too bad. And of course you've got an overspeed which you can set, and that kind of warns you that you're speeding. And back to the digital dash. Of this Aussie icon, we have the American built Alloy Tech V6 engine high output. Why is this one high output for? Well, this is different to your normal standard Commodore motor, as being in the SV6 they've bumped up the horsepower in this one to give you a lot more response and a lot more fun. Now this one puts out 190 kilowatts of power over the standard motor and is a 3.6 litre. Now I've tried this at on a straight road by using the power button on the automatic gearbox. Now this can get to 0 to 100 in 7.2 seconds. Now that's not bad for a V6. Sure, it's not going to outrun the V8s, but it's still very quick for a ute. old Aussie Commodore ute, but now I think it's time to get it out on the road for a test drive. Right, it's road test time. Now it is a warm day, even though it's winter. I'm going to put the air conditioning on. Yeah! I'm going to turn around. Out of that, nearly give me a full tank of gas. These modern day fuel gauges are funny because just don't know exactly what you're getting, but anyway, round and round and round again. There's no way that almost gave me a full tank for 20 bucks. If 20 bucks gave me a full tank of gas on this, I'm fucking laughing. Jesus. That was the cheapest fuel spot that I've seen all day. It's about $1.50. $1.45, $1.50 here at the moment. So fuel is rather expensive, but then it drops to like $1.05 during the week. They like to prey on you going out. So, road testing at the Commodore Ute. Now, because of the strict road rules here and loads and loads of sleeping cops and speeding cameras, so to speak, I can't show you the actual performance of this car in this video. I'll have to bring, I've got a friend's house, a farm property, where I'll be able to go out there and test some speed runs on his own property. But out here on normal roads, unfortunately, no. Look, there's another ute there. There's utes everywhere. So yeah, we got cruise control on this as well, so we're going to set that to just under 100 kilometers an hour. So let's get on with the ride, shall we? So far, as you can hear, it is very, very quiet in here for a 6-cylinder. It does have a sports exhaust on here, but it's not a burbly big V8 exhaust, so to speak. So you're not going to get a lot of rumble in the cabin here with the Alloy Tech V6. But what the engine does offer is a lot of performance, especially in this model. It does have a lot of get up and go, so to speak. So you'd be quite happy just tapping the accelerator pedal and cruising along at a decent speed. Now this ain't no slow coach either, even from a standing stop to getting up to 100 kilometers an hour. Around 7 seconds this vehicle takes to get there when you hit the power mode. So gearbox wise is very good. It has very good gears, it's not noisy, it's very reliable. But yeah, it just gets along, it prods along. And if you drive it normally, you'll never know it's even there. Comfort, yes, very comfortable, I have to say. Again, like I said before, but now we're in the actual drive. It is a very nice seat, besides the lumbar problem. Lots and lots of room here to stretch out. So if you are on a long trip, for instance, then you've got plenty of relaxation room. So when you get to your destination, you're not going to feel like you're all cooped up somewhere and you feel like you need your back sorted out, so to speak. Now we are cruising here, and as we can see, it's as quiet as a mouse, soft as a cloud, this thing to ride on. The suspension, the sport suspension, it is rather firm. You can actually feel that in the normal day-to-day drive. But it's not rattly, it's not loose or anything like that. So between this one and the Super Sport models and the Maloos and that, This suspension setup is kind of like a midway suspension sport setup, not a soft or a hard one, so it's kind of in between there for what you've got. Now, of course, you know, standard stuff, radios, air conditioners, really nice and cold in this thing. Obviously, I had a look underneath the surface, and someone has had the aircon refurbished not so long ago, so cheers for him or her. So going up a hill in cruise control, I'm not even touching the accelerator pedal. It just kind of knows where it wants to be. On the sports dashboard, it has a limiter up to 100 in grey. That kind of tells you, like, that's kind of like the maximum limit you can ever do here in Australia. However, there are some motorways like the Gold Coast where you can do like 110, but you don't often see that. So the standard kind of road speed is 100 kilometers an hour. Now I just put $20 in that one, and it hasn't given me a full tank, but it gave me almost a full tank, and it's given me 540 kilometers driving distance. So I could probably drive this all the way to the Gold Coast and back and again before it's empty. So fuel economy is really, really good. Now, do I have plans for the Ute? Yes, I do, but they're just modest plans. They're not over the top plans. I'm not going to upgrade the wheels to bigger 20-inch rims or 18-inch rims. I'm not going to lower the suspension either, like most people do in these Utes. However, they do look good when they're lowered, and probably get you low to the ground. But you know, this Ute has always been kept original since day one, and since the last guy took very good care of it, I want to continue to do that, because you know, if you do that, it could probably last me quite a long period of time. Now, as for Holden, as we know, they're all closed down and all that, so you might be saying, how do you fix these things? I mean, are there any parts available to fix them? And quite honestly, yes, there are. And Holden have actually said there's going to be at least plenty of parts for the next 10 years plus to fix any of their model Commodores, Utes, wagons or sedans going forth in the future. So no issues with that. Maybe in 15 years time you may start to find a little bit of bit hard to find parts, but for now there are plenty to have. Well, there we have it. That is our review on the Holden Commodore VZ SV6 Sports Ute here in Australia. Now, this one isn't the newest one out of the gate. There are still two models above this one before Holden finished and closed its doors. They have a different style to the back tray, but in the last at least three generations, these Utes are becoming more collectible as a performance car over being a farm truck, because in the later years, that's exactly what that's what their target audience was: sports, performance, muscle cars. So if you ever see a good one of these out in the wild, do snatch it up. This one I've got off of one owner. He looked after it really, really well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it goes very, very quick. So yeah, what more can you ask for in a sports utility? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. We got more car reviews coming up here on Aussie Car Reviews, and if you like it, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya!